Hello guys and welcome back. Today I'm going over Salvador the Gunzerker's original dual element skills that were shown early in the development cycle of Borderlands 2, but they were obviously cut before the game's final release. The art from the thumbnail comes from Shadow D. Osama. I'll link to the Tumblr and DeviantArt below, so check that out. There's awesome Borderlands art and just so much more, so definitely worth your time. So with that, let's get right into it. Okay, so first let me recap where this information comes from. Back before the final release of Borderlands 2, there was early gameplay leaked from an event. These videos are still available, and I'll probably link to one in the description below. If you haven't seen these videos yet and are a fan of Borderlands 2, I would highly recommend it to see how much the game has changed. But basically, these videos showcased an early build of Salvador that had the bare bones of the character, but obviously changes were made from then to the final release. During the demo, a skill point is earned, so the player opens the skill tree as they do to spend it, and highlight over a lot of Salvador's skills. Since this is the internet, we've broken down every frame of this old video, and it gives us some amazing insight into Gearbox's plan for the character. The first skill that we noticed was outright removed in the final version of the game was called, quote, Greenfire, which might have just been a placeholder name for the demo. It was originally in the Rampage skill tree, and it allowed the Gunzerker to set a corroded enemy on fire to inflict the, quote, green fire status effect. Enemies near death while afflicted by green fire will run towards the enemies, setting them on fire in turn. From what I gather, it sounds as if they wanted to have green fire be a unique dot in and of itself, so it only worked when corrosive and fire were together and it'd make some new dot damage, which is really interesting. In the whole scope of balancing the game and giving this unique dot to only one character seems wrong in my opinion, but here's to hoping that Gearbox still keeps this idea considering it made it relatively far in the development cycle of the game. Another skill that was removed with not as much importance was called Die Hard. This skill would have extended the fight for your life duration, and if recovered or getting back up, the player would receive more health in the second wind. The skill was never implemented, but was never really necessary for Salvador, especially with skills like Down Not Out, which allows Salvador to gunzerk while in fight for your life, so he doesn't really need the extra time. Another relatively non-important skill that was changed in the final release was called Overheat. This skill allows for the rate of fire to continue to increase as long as you hold down the trigger with any weapon, which was modified into what we now know is Keep Firing, which allows a boost of up to plus 88% fire rate, but only while gunzerking. It makes sense that this original skill didn't make it further in development. The balancing of this would have been impossible, especially with weapons like the Infinity Pistol, which you can just hold it down for forever. So limiting it to only gunzerk and then capping it out at a certain fire rate definitely makes sense. Another dual element skill was called, quote, Shockingly Acidic. It was in the bronze skill tree. With it, inflicting shock damage on a corroded enemy causes, quote, green lightning status effect. Enemies killed while having this dot on them drop additional loot. So once again, this would have been way too strong, especially considering the way slag worked in the endgame, and only giving this amazing new dot to one character. But the end result could have been very interesting. I wonder how far Gearbox wanted to go with the additional loot drops, if it was going to just increase guns that people don't want, like purples and blues, or if it maybe even boost the legendary chance a little bit, and that would really make it so you need a gunzerker to farm so you could get that extra boost when you're trying to get a certain weapon, like the Unkempt Herald from Savage Lee. Like, would you need a gunzerker to put this dot on him to get it? Who knows? But it does make me think if they'll ever add a full support character, if they have skills that boost loot while also just having healing. That'd be cool, but who knows? That's just my take. So those were the 4 skills that were removed between the leaked gameplay footage and the commercial release for the game, but let me know what you guys think down below. Should Gearbox have kept these skills in game, or would have broken the balance, especially on Salvador? Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys in the next one.